Welcome to It Was Never You, where we talk about narcissism, complex PTSD, and recovery. The job of the narcissist, quote unquote, job is to alter your identity at the core of who you are. So, for example, if you've grown up in this type of an environment, who you are and what you believe about yourself, and that internal voice, the inner critic, the outer critic, how you see the world has been altered by a toxic parent, by a narcissist. Now, in the process of healing, you will come to an understanding of what those beliefs are, why they are incorrect, and then the brain and your thought processes can be altered. Because complex PTSD is a set of learned behaviors. It is not something that you cannot unlearn. You can unlearn these incorrect beliefs about yourself. But just as this abuse took time to work and to alter your identity and what you believe about yourself, it will take time for it to go in the opposite direction. And that is where we need to, although it may sound counterintuitive after you've lived through this type of abuse, to be patient with yourself. You do need to be delicate and patient with you as a person, and be patient with the inner child that sees something as a threat or sees someone as a threat and wants to go into protection mode of you. All of these things, all of these thought processes and beliefs, your brain can be rewired into thinking correctly. So even in a marriage with a narcissist, with a covert narcissist, with somebody who doesn't give the perception to the world that they are hindering or toxic to their family in any manner whatsoever, they give off this image that they have this kind of sainthood about themselves, and the damage. So if you've been through a toxic childhood and now you're married to somebody who operates in this manner, those neural pathways in your brain are being reinforced. So the way that you think is being reinforced. They already have, like a pedophile preys on a child and grooms them. The grooming has already been done in childhood. Now they are just continuing, and their job has been made a little bit easier. That's why it's so difficult to get out of these relationships, because wait a second, either it's our brains trying to recreate the same situation in order to have a different outcome, or this is something that we have come into compliance with. And that's why this abuse is so toxic and so detrimental to somebody's emotional, physical, mental, sexual, financial well-being, because it is all encompassing. It kind of takes over every aspect of your life. And people have often said, I am a shell of who I was. I would err on the side of saying that it is more often than not already programming from childhood. So, yes. Could you be a shell of who you were supposed to be? Yes. Can you be the person that you were born to be? Yes. It takes work. But this is why this is so devious, is because oftentimes as a child and sometimes it takes that one moment where you go to a friend's house and you sit for dinner, and you're sitting at that friend's dinner table and their family is having a conversation, and the child is confiding in the mom, or the child is confiding in the dad, or the parent is giving them this loving, wonderful, kind, yet firm advice. And you're sitting there and you're saying, wait a second, what's happening here? Because this doesn't look normal to me. Because you're so used to something abusive that you think that abuse is normal. They have altered your identity, how you see yourself, and how you see the world. That is why this type of abuse is so pervasive. And it's constant speaking words over you. You may have heard, you're never gonna amount to anything. Nobody's ever gonna love you. Nobody's gonna put up with you. Nobody will ever love you like I do. You know I love you, right? The word love has been altered to mean something else, but the word love itself doesn't change. Love is action. I can tell you that I love you all that I want, but my actions can speak opposite to. That's where the cognitive dissonance comes in. So you have a woman that's in a domestic violence situation and she's being punched in the face, and then she's getting flowers, and the person's telling her, you know I love you, right? I only did this because I love you. The actions don't line up with the words, but she's getting the flowers and she's hearing I love you, but the actions don't line up with it. So cognitive dissonance kicks in. We're going to take the path of least resistance, and we're going to believe those words. Look at people's actions, not their words. We have to critically think, and I know that it's difficult in situations where your heart is involved and your heart is tangled up in it, because we want to err on the side of hope, and there's nothing wrong with hope. But how often have you heard a daughter of a narcissistic mother or a son of a narcissistic father, once they get that crumb, they want to hold on to that little semblance of hope. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. However, you have to look at past evidence of any type of behavior change that has been consistent and that has not gone back to the way that it was before. We have to critically think. We have to be smart. We have to be logical. And you have to know that what has been spoken over you is not true about yourself. We are very easily manipulated into believing things that are spoken over us, even memories. So the narcissistic parent will tell you, that didn't happen. This is gaslighting. That didn't happen. What, are you crazy? That didn't happen. I don't remember it that way. And then after a while, we will start to believe it. We have to stand firm in our truth, journal, read books on overcoming PTSD, therapy. If you're a Bible-believing person, hold on to the promises that God has for you and about you and what He speaks over you. He's not a man that he shall lie.